Hello YouTubers, welcome back to Yorkshire Media One. I am Mark, your host, your presenter, whatever you want me to be. And yes, I am better than the BBC. So, what are we talking about today? Well, it's Sunday's film review, and I'm doing a film review on the return of the Bionic Man, the $6 million man and the Bionic Woman. That's what I'm doing a video on today. And at last, two of the Americans' greatest heroes reunite in a thrilling action adventure, pitting their wits against the most deadly of enemies. Steve Austin, Lee Majors, now disenchanted loner, is persuaded out of collusion by his old friends OSI in order to help them put a stop to a group of international terrorists known as Fortress. His former lover Jamie Summers, Lindsay Wagner, is also begged to join the struggle. Austin and Summers not only find their old powers are rusty, they must also learn to overcome their personal suspicions of each other and work together, especially with Austin's son is badly injured when kidnapped by Fortress. So, that's what it's about. It's about the return of the... When it first starts, it opens up on a scene where you see Oscar Goldman in his office and things like that, and that's where it all begins. So you got Oscar Goldman in his office and talking and things like that, and then it goes to Steve Austin. He's in retirement, he's on a boat fishing and that, and he's getting up to his old tricks basically, and it goes from there. And then some Air Force buddies wants to talk to him, and they mention his son, that he's been a bit reckless and things like that, and they honestly, his friends think he's not ready. So Steve says, okay, I'll meet with him and that, and that's what he does, he meets with him. But meanwhile, Oscar Goldman, back in his office, is asking an OSI agent, do you fancy a blind date? Yes, okay, no problem. He sets up Lindsay Wagner, Bionic Woman, to be in the same place at the same time as Steve Austin, and that happens. Steve comes in, he makes a reservation, he's meeting his son, and then she makes an excuse to go out. She walks past, and then Steve recognises and shouts at her, Jamie, and that, and starts to talk, and then she has an argument with him. He says it's not true. He grabs her, and then she throws him out of a window and things like that, and he's on the floor, and he says, oh, fine, at least the bionics work. It's a bit cheesy going through this film, and that it is really cheesy, and it's what it is, isn't it? I mean, that's the standout moment of that particular thing, because then she walks off, and then his son says, what's going on? And he says, well, he has to explain. He looks a bit silly because a woman's chucked him out, basically. And then it starts from there, and then you see another scene with Lindsay Wagner running, and then suddenly she starts talking to Oscar Goldman, telling her to keep away from Steve because Fortress is after him and that, because they want his bionics and that. But he's really told her that so she can get really involved. I know the storyline, it's the same old storyline as they went through the TV series. Oh, Steve, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. But Steve Austin being Steve Austin, being reckless, he does it basically. And so, okay, so she goes through that lecture with Oscar Goldman, and then meanwhile Steve Austin is being chased in a car by Fortress, and that trying to get him, and he escapes by running up a ramp and over a boat and into an harbour. They can't do that, or they're scared to do it, I don't know, but they can't do that. They try to get him and his son when they're together, and he runs down an alley and cars coming, and he thinks there's no way out. Steve looks up, grabs hold of his son and jumps up. That's when his son first finds out that bionic. And and Steve tells Oscar, well, he thinks it's cool, but he says, what have you told him? He says, well, I tell him the truth after when he graduates and things like that. And then his son is doing his graduation, he's doing his solo flight in a jet. He does that perfectly, but when it comes into landing, it all goes wrong. And it crashes, and he ends up with a right arm what's been amputated, a right eye what's gone, broke, knackered, basically, can't see out of it, and his both legs are crushed and his spinal cord is broken. And the doctor says, if we can fix it all, there's nothing what we can do, he'll never walk again. And he says, no, there's something what I can do. This is what Steve says to the doctor. No, there's something what I can do, and walks away. And the doctor says to Jamie, says, there's nothing what we can do, he'll never walk again. And Jamie says, yes he will. And then she walks away. So then Dr. Steve goes begging Oscar to help his son, and he'll deliver a fortress on a silver platter. And Oscar Goldman says, no deal. He says, I've got a team ready to go. With your permission, they will operate. So he's doing no deals on this one, is Oscar, which is, I'm surprised. But there is a long play here. And the long play is that Oscar will get his son to work for OSI eventually, because he'll need fixing eventually and things like that. So he will eventually become an OSI, and then they'll have another Austin involved. So okay, that happens. His son, as we all know, going through a change like that, he talks to his son, and his son turns around and says, well, you've lost your son after that plane crash. He's lashing out because of what's happened to him and how he's being fixed, I suppose. I mean, it is a mental strain. Because when they did the original TV series, this were literally groundbreaking, and it still is. It's still groundbreaking in a way. But this is the new bionics. What they put into his son. I mean, his son's got a camera eye with a laser in it. He's a lot stronger than Steve. The bionics are more like digital instead of analog, and that. And when he comes out of there, and he has to get rehabilitated, Jamie talks to him, tells him about a prisoner of war who built a clock in his mind, and she wants him to do the same. What are you interested in outside, apart from, the Air Force? And he says motorbikes. So that's what he's got to get in his head. Imaginary motorbike, build it. Build your dream bike, and things like that will help you. And it does, because he gets kidnapped, basically. And when Jamie finds out, she gets a student who tells her who came and drew a picture of his face, and that was it. And it all goes from there. She goes to Steve, shows him the picture, and then he says, oh great, well I know where they are, we just need backup. So they get backup with Air Force and things like that, and it all goes from there. And the best thing about it is, it all takes place. Steve gets OSI agents to come in, and then it's Jamie and Steve Austin doing the front work, basically. And that's what they do. They take out the people who they're supposed to take out and things like that. He frees his son. His son knocks a captive down, breaks the chains with his laser eye, intensity, and things like that, and then goes on from there. And then rescues the girl who got kidnapped with him, the blind girl who got kidnapped, rescue her, and things like that. And it all goes from there. And then eventually they're all corralled together, and it comes down to where Steve sees the main man, a fortress, and Steve says, well, it's the end of the rope for you. And he says, no, it's the end of the rope for you. And then his son comes in with his laser eye, shoots at him, and knocks him out, basically. And Steve says, you haven't killed him, have you? He goes, no, I can control the intensity. I've just knocked him out. That was cool, cool for the time. And that, I mean, it shows you a young Steve Austin here and a young Lindsay, but they're not that young. And that, they're a lot older I mean, I think this is 10 years after the TV series, for Christ's sake. So that's a TV movie, The Return of the $6 Million Man. I'm glad they did it. I really am. And I do remember it. But I thought I'd do this review today. Yeah. Because it's a nice TV movie and things like that. And yeah, it's $6 Million Man. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? So that's all we got. Unless they're going to do another $6 Million Man. But they've been talking about that. They've been talking about the actor Matt Wahlberg playing him and that. Nothing's ever come of it, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's the return of the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman, which I thought were good, yeah, pretty decent, reprising their old roles and that. Once you get your head round that they're a lot older and they look a lot different from what they did in the TV series, then everything, it blends in. It becomes a bit of an enjoyable movie, which it is. It's very enjoyable. So I hope you've liked that. If you have liked that, now take note. If you've liked that, please give me a like. Please subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell icon and it all. That will let you know when I'm uploading another video. Please share the video to your friends and your family and to other social media like X, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and also, are you listening? Also, use the comment section below. I do leave your comment below this video. I do try to answer all comments when I can. So hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Bye for now. Catch you all later. Bye.